I was playing disc golf and my friend
why
wore
isn't my
his
camera working?
Witch King of Angmar shirt. And I was like, why do you have that?
Really?
He's like, because they're awesome. The 9. I was like, well, all right.
Have you seen the photo of like all of the church guys like turned into hobbits?
Markwise Gamgee.
I think we're good. That's Marcus as Sam.
Nice. I'm gonna add the sticker. Oh no,
Yeah, that's
not
one of my
thing.
favorites.
I don't know where the rest of the photo went, but I made Mark. I took Mark out of it.
But then
All right, I think everything's working. I think camera and sound. Okay, we're good.
Action.
All right. Faramir is the best.
Right? Isn't he so good?
He's the best.
Oh my gosh, so different from book to movie.
I liked Faramir already. And now I almost feel like I don't like him in the movie in comparison. I'm like, I actually was a fan of Faramir, but now after the book, I'm like, oh my goodness, he was a little weenie. Oh yeah, nice. I thought, man, he's so awesome.
I've come full circle a little bit too with me in that as soon as I started reading, I was like, book or movie Faramir sucks. And then now I feel like I still kind of like both of them. I still kind of like movie Faramir, but compared to the book,
I hated movie Faramir.
Whoa, you did?
And then I read it and I was like, I love him so much. He's so much better. And then I rewatched like his scenes today, and then I was like, it's actually not like super far off from the book when like the quotes. The quotes that he's saying, like I get what's going on, but it like wasn't explained enough in the movie. But like they're there, like I could see how it works.
Different parts.
But yeah, no, like his characteristics where you think he's like, oh, I need to like, my dad doesn't love me. Like that part is not accurate.
Well, here's a little thought I had. A thought about wisdom. Sometimes it's like if you're in the moment of learning something the first time, it's really intense and you might say something with a lot of emotion behind it. But when you've learned wisdom from years, you might say the same exact line, but it's said as a fact rather than as like a realization. And so even I'm thinking of the line that they stole in the movie from Sam. Sam says it in the book, Faramir in the movie. He's looking down at the guy who he just killed, or one of his men, and he's like, did he have a family?
Yeah.
Did he love? If we met in different times, would we have been friends? He's just serving someone else and fighting a war that he didn't start, and like having a moment. And Sam had those thoughts in the book, and it made sense because he's experiencing death in a real way like he never really has before, I think. But Faramir in the movie, even now, I'm looking back thinking, he's killed so many people. Is he really having this realization right now, like a crisis?
Why is this?
I would expect movie Faramir to say those same words, but like, I know that I would have loved him and he could have been a great guy. And, you know, but he would almost be teaching Frodo and Sam something about war. Yeah. But in the movie, he almost feels scared, like, oh no, what have I done? It just came off weak.
He comes off insecure.
Like he
insecure. Like he's not sure of any of his actions. And then when he finally has that one moment in the movies, this is in the third one where he like tells his father, I wouldn't I wouldn't give you the ring if I was the last one on Earth to save Minas Tirith or whatever. He has that moment in the movies, but I'm like, it's literally like the first thing that Faramir says in the book. He's like, no, I wouldn't take it it was. We'll get there, but so good, so different. So drastically different.
Jen, did you notice a difference?
I think so.
Did you like book Faramir?
He seemed kinder and more
Yes.
personable.
Definitely kind. You're right.
But I only got a taste of it.
What about like movie Faramir too, though? Like, did you like him?
No.
You didn't like him, not at all.
No, because he seemed weak and like
Yeah.
like skittish and
Yeah.
then he was taking out his anger on Frodo a little bit.
That's a great point. In the movies, he does seem like that. And then even when he captures Gollum in that one moment, like he is torturing him, and it seems like he's not enjoying it, but like getting his anger out in that moment too.
Yeah.
It felt like he wasn't fully in
Oh,
control.
that's right,
Yeah.
And it felt like he was being tempted by the ring in the movies.
Yeah.
I think he's using his sword and like lifting it up on Frodo's
Yeah.
like neck,
Oh, yeah.
if I remember correctly.
I think that's right.
But it was just such a different vibe in the in the
Oh my
books.
gosh.
I feel
Even
like-
if I found it on the side of the road, I wouldn't have picked it up.
Yeah.
I think they try to make him seem more like Boromir in the movie. Like try to connect them more. But in the books, I think they're so different.
So different.
They're like
Opposites.
swapped. I mean, not necessarily swapped, but like in the books, Boromir is the weaker brother and Faramir is the stronger brother. He's the one who has the visions, and it's like he should really be the one who goes to, goes and joins the Fellowship. And I made I had a thought in one of the videos that I had this week that was like, Faramir's actions in the movies are exactly how book Boromir would be. Like where he would take the ring to Osgiliath with Frodo, he would like capture Frodo, he would torture Gollum, he'd bring him to Osgiliath, he'd be like on the cusp of potentially bringing the ring to Minas Tirith, and then he like, no, I have to do this for nobility, and he would like give him up there. And then that's like, maybe that'd be boring in the movies or something like that. But in the book, it's like Faramir is just, he's convinced he's on the right path right now. He knows what he needs to do, and it makes him so interesting of a character.
Such conviction.
Wait, why did Boromir go in the first place again?
Because he was older and he
Oh.
went before the elders and his father, and because he was older and sturdier or hardier, I think the book said.
Sturdier.
And Faramir's like, I can't argue with him on either of those points
Okay.
because he is. And he just decided to go, or he was chosen, even though he only had the vision once and his brother had it multiple times, or the dream.
And that's kind of
multiple
telling
times.
too, though.
Yeah.
That it was like, oh no, Boromir's saying it, not
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
Faramir. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, then we're all gonna meet with the elders and come up with a plan.
Yes, seriously.
Is Faramir part elf? That's what I've been wondering this whole time.
Is he part wizard? He's a wizard, according
Part
to Sam.
wizard, yeah, made of the same stuff
Yeah,
as
Sam said
Gandalf.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
I don't know. Only a few things.
Yeah, wow.
Why do you say he's part elf?
Well, it's just he has such a reverence for the elves in a weird way that Rohan didn't, and he feels he's such a good judge of character that I just thought there's magic in him. And I don't know
His
enough about
mom said
Gandalf, but I literally was like, is there a chance that he is
Different
part elf
moms.
for some reason? I don't know how he could be, or maybe just a small part, or maybe just
I like
a
that.
human but magic.
Well,
But
he
his
talks about
intuition
he
was
talks about
spot
this
on.
not with elf but with Númenórean blood. But like we haven't really met Númenóreans other than Aragorn.
Yeah, you're right.
And so they're like grander and taller, and he seems to have some kind of that line because when Sam's like, "Oh, you're of wizard stock," Faramir's like, "Oh, you might be sensing the Númenórean, or like the ancient Númenórean in me, or something like that."
Right.
And you're like, "Oh."
And I
you
still,
might be."
well, we're gonna get to it, but
He says, maybe you discern from far away the air of Númenor. Good night. That's the end of the chapter. It's a good little moment. But let's methodically go through this after we do a
Yeah.
little intro. But welcome to the podcast. I'm John,
Jen.
Danny.
And Lizzie.
and this is the Fellowship of the First Time Readers. Now, chapter 4 of Herbs and Stewed Rabbit. Let's go through this bad boy. What did you guys think of this chapter? Oh, your book's falling apart too?
Yeah,
Mine
I gotta
is too.
take it out.
I
Yeah,
broke
it's so
it,
annoying.
and then there's literally like you can on the spine on the inside. It says the two towers.
No way! I love
so
that.
Whoa, what? That's
like
like an
in
Easter egg.
there, there's like
Oh
the two
my
towers.
goodness! Major
I want to
Easter
do that
egg.
so I know.
Don't.
Love that.
Quick summary: Frodo and
Yes.
Sam
Yes.
have Coney stew, and Faramir captures them from the fire Sam left burning. Then there's a small battle, and they see Oliphants, and they finally go to sleep without Gollum around because Gollum hides and doesn't get captured.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the chapter was
Boring. reading.
What?
The opposite, Jen.
Tell us why.
Well, I was passively reading, so I guess that's not really fair. It's just so many descriptions. And I'm just like, all you could have said was like they cook. Well, I probably missed a lot, but it was like they cooked, and then
Yeah, you're like, that summary Danny just gave is all I needed to hear.
Anyway, well, you know, I like the action stuff.
All right,
so
fair. The first few
setting up-
pages were very stew based.
Yeah.
It was
Sleep and food.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
then I'm reading it, and then I'm like, then I'm not.
Because the whole first part of this is they're going into Athelion, and he's talking about how beautiful Athelion is in just like 5 pages.
Laying out
which,
the plot. I'm
yeah,
like,
is really sensory. It's like really, I mean, like the rosemaries and all the herbs that are going in this place are cool.
And
But I mean,
after
it's
the
a lot of
desolate
description.
land they came from,
Yeah.
that's so
Yes.
refreshing.
I know.
Well, maybe because the break of like reading. Maybe it has a nice flow chapter to chapter if you're flowing like.
Yeah.
Right. Because at
those
least you're not
other-
stressed
I don't
about
even
the
remember the
Black
other
Gate
chapters.
being nearby. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, they're actually
Like
cooking
a
now.
calm
Yeah.
chapter. Okay. Maybe there was that.
Yeah.
Or
But
like
boring
your
to
Quidditch,
some,
your
yeah.
Quidditch chapters. Like
Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. The Quidditch
That's
chapters in Harry
good.
Potter.
Anyway, yeah. So I can't fully say, but I just the fact that it didn't absorb much says it's boring. To
Yeah.
me.
I
But I'm not at your caliber.
no, you are. Are you kidding me? You're crazy.
I loved it. Like,
Nice.
I think it was great. I'm like fresh off my hike too. I'm like, this
Oh,
is so
yeah.
like naturey, and
Yeah.
I love all the descriptions of like different plants in specific, and like their smell and their look, and like not just like, oh, it's green and lush in comparison to darkness. I'm like, wow, we're like exploring with them.
Yep, yeah.
Like I
Yeah,
was into it.
Yeah.
That's funny. I would not. Yeah.
I think it's also like the contrast of like all the destruction too that Saruman and the darkness causes. Because like there was some line that he was saying where like you could delineate between like whatever was like destroyed by the humans or the orcs, and then like whatever's natural. And I was like, oh, environmental science.
Yeah,
But, like,
nice.
that to me stood out too, because we've been in like such desolation for so long that I feel like is a good, refreshing.
I was thinking about when I was reading this chapter, I was like, Lizzie is probably all about
I
this
was
one.
in heaven. I was like, this is like
Yeah.
maybe the greatest chapter in the book so far. So
Really?
That's
yeah,
so
I love
funny.
that.
I loved it.
You
I did like it. I
don't
thought
know.
it was.
You like that forest one too.
Yeah, I know. That's
Yeah.
true.
If it's a forest, I'm there. That's my favorite chapter.
It was very descriptive, but I did like it too. It just, there was like a lot of like quaint things. It felt really similar to the movie too. Like there was a lot of like, even with the stew thing. And one thing that I loved that is that they actually were able to eat the stew rather than the movies where they're not. That was devastating that they're not. But like even Sam's lines, the potatoes line, it was in there.
I
It's a
love
little
that that
different.
was in there.
It was
yeah.
so accurate.
Yeah, I know. The movies
was
did a great
good.
job, I think, with this specific scene. That's like
Yep.
one thing that I think they really
Potatoes.
nailed. There was like a little bit of difference, especially even like in Sam offering some of the stew to Gollum before they finish the rest of it. Like I'm like, that's definitely cool. Sam's a bit more compassionate than sometimes maybe the movies lead him out to be. But yeah, I really like this chapter, even the descriptions.
I interrupted you.
Best
We're-
environmental chapter.
Did you like it? I answered for you.
Oh, you didn't to say I don't like it. No, I did love it. I love every chapter just for different reasons.
Yeah.
I loved the early part of the chapter. We got hope from Sam that there will be a return journey, that there could be. He's saying that he's planning out. He's like, we're, what does he say? 6 days passed, then they've got a supply for 3 weeks. He's trying to figure out the best use of their supplies for a potential return journey. And I love that he has that hope and he's thinking it through, because in the last chapter, or at least 2 or 3 ago, Frodo was like, I'm not so sure we're gonna make it.
I know, and even Sam kind of fell into that idea too in those chapters. 'cause
Yeah,
he felt
yeah.
like the despair of, because he had that one line that I loved in the last chapter that was all about his dad, and he's like so sad that he's not gonna be able to see his dad's face.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it seems to be rekindled a little bit in this one.
Some stew will do that.
I know. Seriously, a good hearty meal will do that.
And also, we got enough of these ingredients here. We could make this stew.
Yeah, someone in one of the videos gave a recipe for the stew.
It's pretty incredible.
Love that.
But he even said, like, if only we could get some carrots, some whatever. So I'm like, we'll just make it with all the best ingredients, and we can call it Sam's stew. But
there is a potential issue I think some people had. Like, apparently potatoes weren't a thing in Middle Earth.
Oh, like they would.
No, they
know.
were. Yeah, I know they were in Middle Earth, but it's not like ancient and historic. Like,
well, they just fell out of fashion
something?
For a long time, and
Really?
then they weren't rediscovered until modern
oh,
era,
no
right?
way. Yeah,
I'm making that
exactly.
up, but
you sounded
be our
so
potato
but I'm
expert.
sure that
wow.
I mean that's what it
Danny's
is.
a
It
potato
tells us
expert.
in the story. So potatoes.
You got a taste of your own medicine.
So yeah, I'm fully convinced that they were around. They were lost to time for
I
a
love
while.
that. I'm into that. Great theory. I don't know exactly what the theory is, but someone in chat will let me know.
Just kept going.
Yeah. What about this little section? It says, Sam, scrambling below the outfalls of the lake, smelling and touching the unfamiliar plants and trees, forgetful of the moment of Mordor, was reminded suddenly of their ever-present peril. He stumbled on a ring, still scorched by fire, and in the midst of it he found a pile of charred and broken bones and skulls. The swift growth of the wild with briar and eglantine and trailing clematis was already drawing a veil over this place of dreadful feast and slaughter. But it was not ancient. He hurried back to his companions, but said nothing. The bones were best left in peace and not pawed and routed by Gollum. What is this? What is happening right here? Like, are these... So I think my question is, are these good bones or bad bones? Like, are these bones of good people, or are they bones of orcs?
I took it to mean bones of good people burned by orcs.
Okay.
That's how I read it.
Interesting.
But I don't know if there was anything in there to determine that, or just my first thought.
I read it the other way, but
I kind of
I'm
read
an
it the other way
optimist,
too.
so
Yeah. I kind of read it the other way because I feel like orcs wouldn't necessarily pile up bodies and burn them. Maybe they would.
Well, it's mentioned them like digging holes and burning things.
Really?
They're just like piling trash.
That's true. Like
So
I like
they
that there's like
could've burned
graffiti
it.
there. It feels like it's slowly being taken over, but I don't know.
And I guess he does have a respect for the bones or whatever, so I just couldn't tell if that meant we just don't disturb bones in general because we've dealt with barrow whites already, or if there was a reverence as a burial ground. Or, well, I guess they just came through the dead swamp, so he's like, look, dead stuff, let's just avoid it. After barrow whites and a dead swamp, just let them be.
I still can't believe that Smeagol tried to eat those people. Like that
Yeah,
I
that
would
is-
never
It's
have
a
thought
variation,
that. I was like, what? That was crazy.
Yeah, you went crazy for that line. Yeah, that was a weird little section. I didn't really understand that, but what do you guys have in this section? And I'll just go again.
And what
I have
we
so many questions about this.
2 seconds.
What do you guys think about Frodo becoming like thinner? Like there's this admission here. Where is this?
Are you gonna steal mine?
No, you read it.
291.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say that he looked like younger almost.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
the light seemed to be shining faintly within.
Yeah.
Frodo's face was peaceful. The marks of fear and care had left it, but it looked old and beautiful, as if the chiseling of the shaping years was now revealed in many fine lines. Oh, so he's getting older. Bilbo was getting younger. And that to me is
Wait,
like...
huh?
Because it seems like Frodo's aging a lot. But then when Bilbo had the ring, Bilbo
It was an opposite
was not
effect.
aging at all.
Wow, yeah, that is weird.
It was revealed in many fine lines that he had before been hidden. Through the identity of the face was not changed. Blah, blah, blah. I love him. He's like that.
Yeah, that was cute.
But yeah, it's having like the opposite effect on Frodo. Which
Hmm.
maybe is just the journey, but honestly, they haven't been out there long enough to like start having wrinkles. Over the
Right,
journey.
right.
But also, he's trying to go against the pull versus Bilbo is going with it.
Yeah.
That's
And-
true.
Evil is more awakened now
Yeah.
than it was in Bilbo's prime.
Sauron is around when he wasn't
So
around.
the
in
ring might be
Bilbo's time.
changing a little.
Yeah.
But that is
That's
weird.
fair.
So would you say that Frodo is becoming, what is he becoming? Just older?
I don't know. Gollum's pretty wrinkly.
Is he?
Gosh, God.
Maybe he is a
Like
little
a
wrinkly.
totally
Hmm.
different creature, right?
Yeah.
Like, what did he look like before? Like,
kind of Hobbit-like.
Like Frodo and
Yeah,
Sam?
probably. To some extent. There's a really gross meme that I come across every once in a while of Frodo. Someone like superimposed Frodo's face on Gollum, and it's like looks horrifying.
Ooh.
It's like not pleasant. It just feels like Frodo's becoming more Wraith-like here. And one of my questions too was like, is this the ring's effect on him? Because what would you guys say the ring's effect on him is up till this point? Like in these chapters, have we seen the ring affect Frodo in any way?
I want to think no most of the time, but then every once in a while it makes him act out, maybe. So as I'm reading, I'm thinking no ring effect. And then every once in a while I see something and think, ooh, was the ring making him do that? For example, in the next chapter when or 2 chapters, he threatens Gollum and kind of says, what did he say? Something about putting the ring on and making him do something. And maybe it was when he was talking to him by the pool. Yeah. And just little things like that where I'm like, oh, that's a little intense. Yeah. And he did that one other time where he threatened to use the ring to make Gollum do something or somebody do something. And to me, that is a sign of it being the ring because it felt out of character. Plus, it results in Frodo putting the ring on. Yeah. So it's like a little weird thing where that's a ring whisper in his ear. Maybe.
He's like making him more like angry so that he actually is able to put the ring on and maybe Sauron can find his way back. It is crazy too because they're like right under Sauron's nose. They're literally skirting the mountains of Mordor right now, right on Ithilien, and they're right under his nose, but the ring wraiths keep passing over him. Especially taters. Little taters. And then he goes, potatoes, said Sam. The gaffer's delight. And a rare good ballast for an empty belly. But you won't find any, so you needn't look. But be good, Smeagol, and fetch me some herbs, and I'll think the better of you. What's more, if you turn over a new leaf and keep it turned, I'll cook you some taters one of these days. I will fried fish and chips served by S. Gamgee. You couldn't say no to that. Oh, it's so good. And I do love earlier how it says that all hobbits, of course, can cook, for they begin to learn the art before their letters. Oh, yeah. Which I didn't know what that was at first, and I realized I was reading. Yeah. They learn how to cook before they learn how to read, which I guess is normal for ancient societies, medieval societies. What else?
I don't know if it's too far, but I love that Sam knew he heard the sound of someone mimicking a bird, not a bird. He was that in tune with the birds, even of a land not his own.
That's a great point.
And he could tell. He's like, that sounds more like someone mimicking a bird. And he heard an answer. And then he went back. I did write fool of a Gamgee on the top because he left the fire burning too much and that gave him a signal, whatever. Yep. And it's not the first time I thought that in these chapters. But I did think that was very perceptive of him.
It's very Faramir of you to think fool of a Gamgee, because in the next chapter he's like, sit by your master and be quiet because your master has a greater wit than you. You're not smart enough, Sam. And Sam just sits.
I was like, oh.
Yeah. That is a really cool thing, like perceptive of Sam, that he's so in tune with nature and so like knows the outdoors so well that he would know a fake bird call from a real bird call. I like that. Respect him.
There was a line that was like, this is beyond the garden lore of Sam. I was like, the garden lore? That's a new category. So we got to get those books now.
I know. That's going to be a pin you pin to your chest. Garden lore. Lizzie, garden lore. Garden lore master.
I am surprised that Frodo gave his real name. He didn't say Underhill.
Yeah.
Frodo, son of Drogo. I just thought that was surprising that he was so upfront about a lot of it. But I guess in general, they're still seeing men as being trustworthy, and they're saying clearly these dudes aren't Southern men riding oliphants and painted faces or whatever they were. So I guess there was a trust, but it still felt a little quick to be trusting them.
Yeah, it did feel a little quick, but I think there's a point in this, and I was thinking about this week, as I feel like Frodo's like throwing his arms up because I feel like he knows he's gonna die, and so he's just like, oh, whatever happens almost. And he's like, casting his chances, I feel like, before, the god of Middle Earth, or like letting fate fall where it may. Like he seems to be taking more risks. That was one of the moments where I saw that, where he's like using his name. I'm like, why would he do that? That just seems irresponsible. And I'm like, maybe he's just like, oh, whatever happens seems like I made it this far, so maybe, whatever I say is going to be used and might help me. So he's like, oh yeah, I'm Frodo. I came on a mission, and I'll tell you that mission. And he doesn't tell him exactly what the ring is, but later Sam lets it slip, which is wild. We'll talk about that later. But it seems like he's just like, yeah, whatever. I'm just going to like start spouting these things off. And it works to his good, because Faramir is great, and we love Faramir in the books. But it did seem a little irresponsible.
I think he uses his willingness to die on the journey as like, he uses it against people almost, so that like they don't want to take the ring from him. Yeah. Because he's like, look, I'm gonna die. Like, I know I'm gonna die. And then they don't want to like really step into that.
I like that
mess of like, oh, maybe I'll die. Like, maybe all the orcs are after him already. I think he uses it to like put the danger out there. Because he's accepted his fate. In my mind, I think he's like pretty ready to die already.
Yeah. Sadly.
So I think like just telling people that, he kind of is like hoping it pushes them away a little bit.
And then it also like acknowledges the reality of the situation. So people are like, wait, you're going into Mordor? Like, what are you, nuts? And he's already told them, yeah, I'm probably going to die here. So then I think they're more likely to trust that he understands the situation.
Yeah,
even if they do think he's a little crazy.
And it is interesting, too, because Frodo just all of a sudden says, like, this shocked me when he goes, are the riddling words known to you that Boromir brought to Rivendell? Then he says, seek for the sword that was broken in Imladrisson dwells. Like, that feels like private information that he shouldn't really dispense. I thought that, too. I'm like,
isn't this like a random secret prophecy? Like,
and then luckily, by, like, the fate of, whoever the god of Middle Earth is, the words are known indeed, said Faramir in astonishment. It is some token of your truth that you also know them. Aragorn, whom I named, is the bearer of the sword that was broken, said Frodo, and we are the halflings that the rhyme speaks of, or spoke of. That I see, said Faramir thoughtfully. Or I see it might be so. And what is Isildur's bane? That is hidden, answered Frodo. Doubtless it will be made clear in time. We must learn more of this, said Faramir, and know what brings you so far east under the shadow of yonder. He pointed and said no name. But not now. We have business in hand. You are in peril, and you would not have gone far by field or road this day. There will be hard handstrokes nigh at hand ere the day is full. Then death or swift flight back to the Anduin. I will leave two to guard you, for your good and for mine. Wise men trusts not to chance meeting on the road in this land. If I return, I will speak more with you. Yeah, some strange language, but it seems like Frodo is just throwing out information, and it all works to his good, which is great. But I like what you said. I like that interpretation. He's like, you guys don't want to die. I'm resigned to the fact that I'm going to die. So you guys can take this if you want, but you're going to die. And it seems like he garners the respect of his men very well, too. But you guys have anything else in this chapter?
Just that there are people of the Dunedain of the south, same people as Aragorn's people, that live longer. I thought that Mablung and Damrod sound like goblin names from Harry Potter.
That's very true.
I can't find it, but I know, like, we were talking about Faramir seeming like a wizard, and one of his men says something like either his life is charmed or...
But his life is charmed or fate spares him for some other end.
Yeah. So, like, he could have had some, like, I don't know, could Gandalf have done something to him?
Well,
Does he do that?
Like, because that's when his men are kind of talking. I guess once Sam charmed them a little, they just keep talking. Not while Faramir is captain. He leads now in all perilous ventures, but his life is charmed. Like, it's like they're viewing him as immortal. Like, they must have seen some stuff. And it also made me try to think ahead to the story. I'm like, what is Faramir's long-term role to play? And why is it so blessed now? Is it just for this? And I'm also wondering, by the end of our chapters, do they go to Osgiliath with him? Is there going to be a curveball at the beginning of the next chapter? Or do they literally split here, and that was just a movie difference?
It feels like they're going to split here.
Yeah, it really does. Like, that's how it felt. So I'm like, oh, whoa, is this a big change? And then I guess Faramir just goes back to Osgiliath or just does something entirely different. I don't know.
The other thing that really bothered me about the movie was it felt like the hobbits got kidnapped because they kind of like take off their blindfolds in the cave.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not what happened at all. They like literally guided them through the journey. They were like, hey, you kind of got to come with us at this point. We'll actually give you 2 guards. And then they like all went together. And then it was kind of like in the elf land when they're like, hey, out of respect for our space, you can't know. And they're like, all right, fine. One of the only
2 places that you were blindfolded.
Yeah, and they're like, they wouldn't have even opened their eyes but like, you know, you trip on a rock and you'll blink. Yeah. And I was like, this is not, they're not getting kidnapped. Like the movie made it seem like so different.
Although I will say in the movie is one of my favorite parts of that little section is when they are literally in a line and they're just handing the hobbits and Frodo and Sam were just like, oh.
The trust.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was more of a mutual decision, I feel like, the journey.
Agreed.
Than just getting kidnapped into the waterfall.
Yeah. That waterfall was so cool, though.
That was cool.
Which is the window on the west, which is the next chapter. So unless you guys had anything else in the previous, let's go on to the window on the west.
Yeah, just that Sam got to see his Oliphant.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
What a life that I've seen one. No one at home will ever believe me.
Yep.
Love that.
I love how it just like described it too, and you gotta like put it together. You're like, hey, that's an elephant. Like, is that what's happening?
Yeah. And I like to think that it's just out there somewhere now. They don't know where it is. Just, you know.
He like needs a camera or something
elephant.
like that. He's got to prove to his buddy that he's seen one, but he can't.
No, I really
He's
saw
just gonna describe it. Yeah, I really saw it, guys. I promise. All right, the window on the west. Give me a summary of this one, Danny.
Summary is back to Faramir's cave hideout. Sam blabs about the ring, and after it, Faramir treats them very well, and Faramir proves to be, and I quote, of the highest quality.
Mm-hmm. It really is. Shocked that Sam gave that information away. A
little wine, you know? I actually wondered when I was reading it, when it said what they were drinking coursed through their veins. I was like,
uh-oh.
Truth serum? Is this a little poison? I literally thought, does Faramir have some kind of spell, some kind of like magic thing? Or is it like, hey, this is wine, but it was actually like hard liquor of some kind? Because I was like, wow, they described getting drunk really fast and then blabbed
They're
the
also
truth.
starving and
but
tiny.
Yeah, exactly.
So
They're
that
so
makes
tiny.
A difference.
It comes in pints.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just classic tipsy, but I just had the thought of, was there more to it?
Honestly, that is such a good thought, because when I was reading this chapter, I felt that with Faramir. There were moments in this chapter where he is the coolest, most trustworthy character, and then there's moments that I'm like, shoot, he's about to stab them in the back. If I didn't know who Frodo or if I didn't know who Faramir was in the movies. Like, I know that he's like, you know, a good character. Yeah. So there's the, especially the one moment. I mean, I'll like talk about more of these, but the one moment at the end when Sam gives up the ring, it says like Faramir stands up and like looks like he's about to like there's the look in his eye. Like, I'll read it later, but it's I was like, oh sheesh. So it makes me think like that's a good element to throw in there, because I feel like throughout this chapter your trust in Faramir just goes up and down a little bit until the end when you actually fully trust him. But the one line that he said, like, oh, I wouldn't, you know, if it was on the road and I was the last person to save Minas Tirith, you're like, okay, so I trust him there. But then you're like, will his actions match up? Because then he's actually shown the ring. So I'm like, did he give him a little truth serum or like a little poison that's coursing through their veins that's actually making them do that? That's another thing. That's great. I think it's so good.
And then waking up only Frodo and leading him away from Sam. I was like, I don't love this.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah.
And then, the next chapter, one of the most inadvertently funny moments was when he keeps telling Sam, he's like, Sam, no one invited you to come see the moon. You're here by your own choice.
Yeah. You don't get to complain.
So
okay.
Sam's like shivering. He's like, ooh, it's cold out here. And he's like, Sam, you decided to come on this on your own.
That's so funny. Yeah, this would have been great to have no idea what was coming next.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, this would have been a great chapter.
Because the beginning is intimidating. They're all sitting in a half circle. And then Frodo's just in the middle and Faramir's at the head, and they're just grilling him with questions.
Yeah.
But then you learn he's good.
Could have gone a lot of different ways.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting, too, because they mention, like, you see everything in hindsight, because when you finish a chapter, you're like, oh, Faramir was guiding this conversation perfectly. Because they initially mention Isildur is Bane. And then they quickly get off that topic and they start talking about Boromir. And you're like, why did they jump off that topic? Because Faramir was guiding the conversation because he didn't want to talk about it with other people there. But it's
okay. Am I
so
dumb? Do we know what Isildur's Bane is? Am I
It's a
supposed
ring.
to? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
yeah.
I was
I
not
wrote
sure.
that at the beginning of the last chapter too. I was like, Sealer's Bane? I was like, that's the ring, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the
Um,
Bane is like whatever kills somebody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or it's like their nemesis or something, I guess. It's
Yeah.
his Bane.
What is
The
It's a
Bane
deep
of
word
my
we don't use
existence.
anymore. Yeah, the
Yeah.
bane of my existence.
What is Durin's Bane? Durin's Bane is the
Isn't that the
Balrog?
Balrog?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just like their doom, or like
Their doom.
They're like
oh,
end, I
okay, a little
Gotcha.
more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would
Maybe.
just needed to make sure before
Yeah,
we
yeah,
get too far.
guess. Yeah. And then there's a meme that another great meme that is
There's so many good
someone just
memes.
chatted about this on. They said, Isildur's Bane. I think I told you guys this before. They go Isildur's Bane is the ring, and they go Durin's Bane is the Balrog, and they go Gandalf's Bane, and they just have Pippin standing there. It's so good.
Yeah, it is great.
Yeah.
I like that Faramir's men get a little excited about the Sword of Elendil.
Yeah.
And in these chapters, we get such reverence for the past. And maybe it's next chapter, so I don't want to like get too ahead, but the idea that he's talking about his men and Boromir is saying, when can a steward just become the king? When is the king's line no longer the king's line? Like, why are we still stewards? And I think he said something like, for the people of Gondor, it would be 10,000 years or more. And we get a little bit of a peek because don't we know that it's 26th steward? It's a lot of stewards.
Oh, I didn't even notice that, actually.
Yeah, somewhere in here it was saying one of the stewards, I forget his name, was number 12, and the current steward is number 26.
Interesting.
So I was like, that's a long time, but
Yeah.
not long enough.
Yeah, I know. 10,000 years would not suffice. And that's interesting that you mentioned, because the men get excited about the Sword of Elendil, but Faramir's face was unmoved, which that I'm like, I was trying to read this chapter like through new eyes, like I don't know the character of Faramir, and I'm like, what does that tell me about this character? Is he just like wise and he doesn't get easily excited, or does he hate the idea that the heir of Elendil might come back?
Well, he plays it perfectly. He's
Yeah.
got such a poker face.
Exactly.
And I feel like there was some tension, maybe in this chapter, where maybe Sam mentions Aragorn again, and then Faramir had a little comeback about Boromir, and like, you know, it just felt like there was a little bit more to it than, well, it's not going to solve all our problems, you know, like stewards are good too, and what's a king anyway?
Yeah.
Like, so I do feel like Faramir was already thinking that, like, ooh, I don't know if I love the Sword of Elendil coming back.
Didn't he say they would have like fought once they got to Minas Tirith too?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that part of it?
There'd be like tension,
Yeah.
something. Yeah,
Because like that's when it would have mattered. Like they could put it off until that point, and then you have to decide.
It would have led to a fight at some point. Yeah.
Okay, someone said it in chat. Denethor, I don't think there's much spoilers. Denethor is the 26th steward, having ruled for 35 years, and is currently 89 years old. Aragorn is 87 for comparison.
Whoa.
Pretty
It's crazy.
intense.
But Aragorn can live longer. He's still got like 100 years in the tank.
Respect.
I know. This was a line that I liked. So like, again, my trust in Faramir is vacillating, where it was
Vacillating.
it was down.
You've been reading a lot of JRR, huh? Nice.
Hey guys, we get some bigger words now. Look at me. It dropped because his face was dead set, and then it says, Faramir smiled grimly. Then it would grieve you to learn that Boromir is dead. I would grieve indeed, said Frodo. Then catching the look in Faramir's eyes, he faltered. Dead, he said. Do you mean that he is dead and that you knew it? You've been trying to trap me in words, playing with me? Or you are now trying to snare me with a falsehood? He goes, I would not even snare an orc with a falsehood, said Faramir.
Oh,
I
that's
was
so
like,
good.
all right, I like
What,
this guy.
yeah, what honor.
Yeah, I know.
Even an orc, I would not have to trap that way.
I know. I love that line. It's
So
so
good.
good.
I also love that he's sitting ground level with them.
Yeah,
I'm like, this dude's sitting? I did not picture that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I pictured it, but then I was like, they're just hanging out,
Yeah.
sitting on the ground or something.
And
it
it was, I'd never noticed that too. Even when I was reading and someone commented like he's sitting eye level with Frodo because Frodo is standing there and he's sitting. So he's like humbling himself in this position. I'm like, that's so good. I love that. And then one thing that I love when Sam had been getting more and more impatient and angry at this conversation. These last words are more than he can bear, and bursting into the middle of the ring, he strode up to his master's side. Begging your pardon, Mr. Frodo, he said, but this has gone on long enough. See, he's no right talking to you so. After all you've gone through, as much for his good and all these great men as for anyone else. See here, Captain, he planted himself squarely in front of Faramir, his hands on his hips, and a look on his face as if he was addressing a young hobbit who had offered him what he called sauce when questioned about a visit to the orchard. And then at the end of this little thing, Faramir goes, patience, said Faramir, but without anger, which I loved. Do not speak before your master, whose wit is greater than yours. And I do not need any to teach me of our peril. Even so, I spared a brief time in order to judge justly a hard matter. Were I as hasty as you, I might have slain you long ago, for I am commanded to slay all whom I find in this land without leave of the Lord of Gondor. But I do not slay man or beast needlessly, and not gladly even when it is needed, and yet neither do I talk in vain. So be comforted, sit by your master, and be silent. Sam sat down heavy with a red face. Like all that line, everything that he says, you're like, oh, this is so good. Mm-hmm. He's like, especially that I don't slay man or beast needlessly, and even when I do, I don't do it gladly. So good.
Yep.
Such a man. What a man's man.
So true.
Yeah.
And then after that, he tells the story of hearing the horn.
Yeah.
Because Frodo confirms that he had the horn, and then he's like, oh, all right, well, that's some truth then, if you know about the horn. Although also, is that really truth? Because it feels like everybody would know about this. Or maybe it's not that known. Maybe this is a family heirloom, and the horn that he carries is only known to people who really have spent time with him.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the fact that he heard it 11 days ago, I heard the blowing of that horn from northward, it seemed, but dim, but an echo in my mind. So again, I just was like, magic, there it is. Magic horn or magic Faramir, I don't know.
Interesting that you're saying that. So you actually think that he didn't hear the literal horn, right?
I don't think he heard the literal horn. I think that was but the echo in his mind.
Did you see the boat then?
Yeah.
I believe.
Question. Hey, high five.
Yeah, nice.
Follow question.
Yeah, I started leaning into the part elf realm for Faramir. So yeah, I do not think he ever saw Boromir. I do not think Boromir even made it down the waterfall.
Wow.
I think.
Wait, what do you mean?
I think
he just went up.
Yeah, he ascended
Off the boat.
I think
The
that
Undying
after
Lands.
he fell, I think he is gone. Whether the boat, it sounds harsh to say that the boat was shattered and gone forever, but I don't think the boat was real by the time Faramir saw it. Because by the time it gives the vision, he sees Boromir, but doesn't see the horn, and then the boat turns towards him. So I was like,
the horn's floating in the water though.
but in two
The board
pieces.
is hewn in two, but that's
yeah.
because the orc probably hewn it in two.
Sure, but didn't they put it with him when they sent him over the waterfall? So my interpretation was that was only a vision. Seeing Boromir, seeing his body, knowing he was dead, and then getting information about the boat so Frodo knows that he's telling the truth. Then they find the horn in two pieces, but the horn, being magic, is actually the only piece of Boromir left. And am I supposed to believe that his own brother found a broken horn in pieces and brought it back to his father, but didn't bring Boromir back and just left him to float down the river? I just... Maybe. And if I find more evidence in a future chapter and there's some burial, or we find Boromir farther down the river, or he made it to Osgiliath and they collected him there. But my interpretation was that was a vision to confirm to Faramir that Boromir was dead, but he never actually saw the boat because it no longer exists.
Wow.
Is that too harsh? I don't know.
No, that's fascinating.
I can't find this one line, but doesn't Frodo tell him, he's like, this sounds very vision-like? And Frodo,
Yes.
Faramir's like, no.
All the world slept at the midnight hour. So that was the other thing too. We ever watched the shores at night, the shores nigh Osgiliath, which our enemies now partly hold, and issue from it to harry our lands. But that night, all the world slept at the midnight hour. I took that to mean we're in a contentious part of the land here, that there's actually enemies on both sides of a river, and he's just all of a sudden, all people slept. That to me was another vision vibe of like, no other humans existed in this vision. The rest of the world faded away, and it was just him in a black river as he wades in and a boat comes by. I think I'm biased from the movie too, because the movie does make it a little
more
ethereal.
Vision-like,
yeah.
Well, what about this? Because he does see him. If it was vision-like, would he have seen him with the belt on? Because now he says everything that I recognize except for one thing, which was the belt.
And the boat too, though. And so I think whatever this vision was, it was genuinely a real vision showing him the truth of Boromir's death in his current state. So whatever magic of Middle-earth, I don't know, or Galadriel sending a vision his way, or, I don't know how this would all work. But whatever that same power that gave him the dreams for weeks or months before Boromir ever got the dreams is the same power that I think was working here, where he even said that it glowed.
Here's the line. Hold on. Dream like it was, and yet no dream, for there was no waking.
He did say that. So by his own admission,
but this is his own admission, so he doesn't necessarily know. Like you don't necessarily know your own dreams from
How
sometimes
could you?
not dreams.
Yeah, true. And if it's a vision,
What?
You don't live like that every day.
Then the boat turned towards me and stayed its pace. So again,
Yeah,
there's
turn
magic.
Was like, that's
So-
weird
Yeah.
to me.
So I think that
Even
there's
if
magic
it's not,
involved.
yeah.
For sure. I don't think you can deny that there's magic, but I think this is real because. But Faramir seems like chosen by the gods or something like that, and everything that's happening seems to be guiding Faramir into this spot. So I think that it is real, but it's elven magic that this boat doesn't capsize.
Yep. And that tracks. I'm down with that. Yeah.
But I go back and forth because the boat being filled with water also throws me off because it could be something like the mirror of Galadriel. Like
That's
it could
what I
be
was
filled with water
thinking.
and that it doesn't capsize, but like, yes, this is an elven boat. It won't capsize.
Floating
it's
on
good.
the water, glimmering
But
gray.
is this potentially like, something that you said that I'm
pale light around it.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
future, the past, or the maybe.
So part of me believes both, that it's real and also a vision. Like it's almost like a hologram. Like he is in this boat somewhere and the boat is filled with water somewhere down the Anduin, but the vision is still real, but he's still seeing something that's real. He's seeing it almost like a hologram from another location, where like this boat is turning toward him because Faramir needs to see this. But at the same point, the boat still didn't break down, didn't capsize. Like he's still in this boat somewhere, but it's just down the Anduin. So that's kind of my theory at the moment.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was just thinking that if the boat was full of water, maybe Boromir isn't in it anymore.
Yeah.
And then Faramir looks into this clear, still water and sees Boromir in it, but it is a hologram of Boromir, but the boat is real. Like, this is the elvish boat that is floating down the river.
Yeah.
Man, it's a weird one.
I know. Because the horn thing was an interesting one, too, because at first I was like, how far away were they from this? Maybe they were close by, but they were like hundreds of miles away. So there's no way they could have legitimately heard this. But the horn's like aura is that anybody. But and here's another issue too: is were they technically in Gondor when they blew this horn?
No, but have you ever heard those stories of when like someone's sibling or mom like on the other side of the world dies and they're like, I knew it at the exact moment. I'm like, fair. That's happening.
Well, they passed through the Argonath, so they were in traditional Gondor,
traditional
right?
Gondor,
not current.
Current Gondor.
But I feel like the magic has to go old school Gondor,
agreed.
right?
I agree with that.
But we don't know when the horn was forged. I don't know. Yeah. But I'm gonna say because they passed through the Argonath, that's why. But why does it only work in Gondor?
Yeah, if it's only blown in Gondor, I think it says.
Okay. Blown
the horn,
in Gondor,
the eldest son,
the horn,
the eldest son of our house, is born for many generations, and it is said, if it is blown anywhere at need within the bounds of Gondor, the realm, as the realm was of old. That
it even says that. Oh, nice.
Its voice will not pass unheeded.
Wow.
That's so cool that he
Wow.
threw that in there because he probably even knew. He's like Tolkien being the detailed person. He's probably like, they're in Gondor, but they're not in Gondor as Gondor is of old. That's cool. But that part was so interesting to me.
You know, at the end of that, he says, dream like it was, and yet no dream, for there was no waking. And I do not doubt that he is dead. That seems like a funny way to end, because he's saying it wasn't a dream. But then he also feels the need to clarify, I do not doubt that he is dead, and pass down the river to the sea. It's like, well, yeah, of course you don't doubt. You told us you just saw him. But that almost feels like a self-admission that it was a vision that told him with clarity that he was dead, which is not the same as seeing the dead body. But it's his conclusion there, to me, is just saying a very realistic dream that gave me a confirmation that he was dead. That's how I read that.
Yeah. And then it's interesting too.
Oh man, I keep going back.
Even
and
within
forth.
this whole thing, I like because Frodo is like in our position here. He's asking all the questions that I think we're asking. So he's like, "How could this thing have happened in truth? For no boat could have been carried over the stony hills from Tol Brandir, and Boromir purposed to go across the Enwash in the fields of Rohan. Yet, how could any vessel ride the foam and the great falls and not founder in the boiling pools, though laden with water?" And he goes, "I know not. But whence came the boat? From Lorien." And then Faramir's like, "Oh, that answers the question because it's elven made, and that there's a bunch of weird stuff that happens there. If men have dealings with the mistress of magic who dwells in the golden wood, then they may look for strange things to follow. For it is perilous for mortal man to walk out of this. And this is another interesting question I want to talk about. For it is perilous for any mortal man to walk out of the world of this sun, and few of old came thence unchanged," 'tis said. So Faramir is answering the question here. He's like, "Oh, weird things happen in this land." But we talked about this before when they came out of the Lothlorien, in that this land seems to be governed by a different moon, because Sam is seeing a different moon. Is Lothlorien outside of time or in a different realm?
Yeah, I think we were saying potentially slows time, but I don't remember what we were saying.
I think it does slow time because they were there longer than when they left. But it almost makes me think like it's a totally different realm altogether, because he even says, to walk out of the world of this sun. So I'm like, is Lothlorien governed by a different sun? Because this is like heaven on earth.
Right.
So is this like the land of heaven? Or is this like, I think because heaven is maybe portrayed as like the Undying Lands. Is this like a section of the Undying Lands that is like roped off? That they're like, let's hologram this over to Middle Earth so that they get a taste of what the Undying Lands are like.
Right.
But didn't time pass really slow when they were in there, and Gandalf kind of had to like
Yeah.
straighten them out?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's its own land.
It's kind of, it's
I
like
don't know.
Eden, you know?
Yeah. I wouldn't be
So many
mad if
interesting
it was
questions.
like above time and like nothing in there was actually lining up with what's going on in the
Yeah.
outside world.
Yeah.
I'm just reading again and reminded that Frodo doesn't know any of this stuff that went down and doesn't know that Boromir is dead. So he's like, I actually think it was a vision that you saw and a shadow of evil fortune that has been or will be. So even Frodo is like, all right, it does sound like you're convinced he's dead then, but I do think what you saw was a vision. And he's now deciding, are all of my friends dead now?
Yeah.
Or are they not? And what kind of vision was that? And then I like that Faramir ends up comforting him, I don't know, a little farther.
But again, one reason why I love all this too is because it's just like so debatable. It's so ambiguous.
Yes.
You don't know what it is going on. So it's like fun to just sit and chat about this, because you can have no definitive conclusion, but you can, and you can probably debate other Tolkien people who love this work and they're like, I have a totally different opinion. You're like, oh, yours makes sense too.
Yeah. I'm still holding back on any of that stuff because I'm not sure if we're going to get any conclusions, but I love that Tolkien leaves so much ambiguity in there.
Yeah.
Like you actually just don't know.
Yeah,
that soft
seriously.
magic approach to a lot of this.
It's so fun. And then it's interesting too, because one thing that they don't have in the movies that well is Frodo's terror and fear that everyone else in the company is dead. Because he's like, if Boromir is dead, how is everyone else not dead? And he's like freaking out about that.
Yep.
Faramir's like, no, they gave him a funeral. Orcs wouldn't do that.
Someone put him in the boat.
But it
and
still doesn't put his mind at ease at all.
yeah.
He's like freaking out in this chapter.
it this life being forfeit language came up a few times. The first time here, and it came up in the movie, and it always bothered me in the movie because I'm like, then my life is forfeit. What are you talking about? Like what? Because you're letting Frodo go. What does that have to do with your life? And he was making a promise at some point, but here, I should now take you back to Minas Tirith to answer there to Denethor, and my life will justly be forfeit if I now choose a course that proves ill for my city. So is that what it is? If I allow something that eventually leads to a bad result for Minas Tirith, then my life is forfeit? And is that just poetic language?
Yeah.
Or is this a death penalty for doing something bad towards Minas Tirith? But why is this bad? And he's making choices that would be good, but good for Middle Earth, not Minas Tirith. But I don't know.
It's such a good question.
Another weird one.
I had some people telling me that it is really like a death sentence. Like it's a death sentence.
But what is that? Is that like in the next chapter where he's talking about if you...
Like jumping in the forbidden pool?
Yeah, like if anyone sees this place and leaves, but I guess it's a little different. No, but he let Gollum go. So then for Gollum, he's basically saying my life is forfeit because I'm not sticking to the rules we established.
No, for Gollum, he's saying that Gollum's life will be forfeit, I think, if he does
Oh,
this.
yeah, and he did say that to Gollum too,
and then
right?
Gollum takes the oath, and then Faramir is satisfied with this oath. Or, no, Frodo, is satisfied with this oath. So then they're like, okay, this is good then. But it does seem like it's like a half-hearted way to do this. But this also makes me think that for Tolkien's work, like oaths have some kind of serious, more magical value, because if he's taking this oath and it's satisfying Faramir, who's like, my life is forfeit because of this, or your life is forfeit because of this, then they have to have some kind of like severity or something like that. I don't know, something to them, something magical to them.
I felt like it was just you're like part of the royal family, and like that's your duty to like continue the kingdom no matter what it costs.
So you didn't
and
view it as like true death?
No, and I thought that was maybe the thread that the movie was pulling of everything has to be like for your city instead of like for your own good, but I don't know.
And
I didn't think of it as final as you guys are thinking of it.
And he doesn't even know about the ring yet right here. So it is funny that he's making it so extreme. Like, if I let you go and it could have helped the city, then my life is for... Like, it feels a little weird.
It really is. It's a phrase that I don't quite understand yet. I like that.
The Grey Pilgrim. Love that he knows Gandalf.
Yeah.
And it's funny because
So
you
many
get that
names.
age thing again where you're like, oh, he like grew up watching Gandalf come a few times.
Yeah, come study.
And that was it. And then you're like, oh yeah, he's way younger than Frodo is. And that age difference and like...
Because he grew up watching him when, in that 17-year gap, Gandalf went to Minas Tirith, and he grew up watching him study in that moment, which is crazy.
Is so crazy. Cool. And I'm curious how Gandalf got Denethor to let him do that.
Yeah.
Because... movie Denethor doesn't feel like the kind of guy who'd be down with that, so it feels a little strange. So I'm curious what Gandalf had to do,
and what Denethor is actually going to be like.
Carrot or the stick, you know.
And then with the Grey Pilgrim, they go Mithrandir. We called him in elf fashion, and he was content. Many are names in many countries, or many are my names in many countries. He said, Mithrandir among the elves, Tharkun to the dwarves, Olorin. I was in my youth in the west, that is forgotten. In the south, in Canis. In the north, Gandalf. To the east, I go not. What is the east? What's going on in the east? Mordor, I guess, but still, it seems like a rough place.
I loved when they said that so much lore could be taken from the world when Gandalf died.
Yeah.
And it's like, oof.
Yeah.
And then he said that he's a great mover of our time. Like, I don't know. It sounds like he is orchestrating things.
Yeah.
I mean, it is crazy even in our day with all the tech we have and the internet. It's still crazy how quickly lore disappears. When somebody dies, all of a sudden the next generation does not know who they are, like instantly.
Yeah.
Who's that? I've never heard of that band. Are you kidding me? They were the biggest band 5 years ago.
And we're becoming like the generation, like people are dying now. We're like, oh my gosh, that band like Ozzy Osbourne. And you're like, no.
Yeah.
But people are like, who the heck was that? You
Yep.
know who that was? It's pretty sad.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my parents' generation. It's like, who the heck just died? Who's that? But the best, one of the best Faramir lines in this chapter. But fear no more. I would not take this thing if it lay by the highway, not if Minas Tirith were falling in ruin and I alone could save her. So using the weapon of the Dark Lord for her good and my glory. No, I do not wish for such triumphs, Frodo, son of Drogo. Man, he's so good. And then another one. This whole chapter is so full of good Faramir lines. He goes, war must be while we defend our lives against a destroyer who will devour all. But I do not love the bright sword for its sharpness, nor the arrow for its swiftness, nor the warrior for his glory. I love only that which they defend, the city of the men of Numenor. And I would have loved her for her memory, her ancientry, her beauty, and her present wisdom. Not feared, save men may fear the dignity of a man old and wise. So good. So good. He loves the city. The beautiful little waterfall too. It's incredible. Love that.
Perfect for sleeping too.
I know. Yep.
Sounds amazing.
It does sound amazing.
Ice cold and then water flowing.
Yeah. And then Sam's thing awake was hilarious to me. He's like really trying to stay awake, even though he knows he can't do anything. And then again, another one of my favorite moments in this chapter is when they sit down and do their like little prayer. We look toward Numenor that was,
so
and beyond to Elvenhome that is, and to that which is beyond Elvenhome and will ever be.
I love that Frodo feeling strangely rustic and untutored. Like he's like, oh, these are like sophisticated people.
Yeah.
They've got like prayers and rhythms,
Yeah.
and that's how I felt too. I'm like, oh, what a dude. He's got his like, we honor the past, and we have this big profound thing we say.
Yeah, it is so good.
That is great. Numenor that was, and beyond to Elvenhome that is, and to that which is beyond Elvenhome and will ever be. That's great.
And Sam's like, if you're short of sleep, cold water on the neck's like rain on a wilted lettuce. He's like that little farmer guy. He has all his little sayings.
Yep.
So good. And then their little private conversation after all was good when he was talking about, what happened to Numenor. And he's like, kings made tombs more splendid than the houses of the living and counted old names in the rolls of their descent dearer than the names of sons. It's like really interesting, his whole little deep dive. It makes me want to really get into the fall of Numenor and like read what Tolkien had to write about that.
And like such a cool critique of modern times too.
Oh my God.
And in his day and our day, I'm like, whoa. I feel like that is a great thing to be reminded.
Yep.
Or like hearing, we are a failing people, a springless autumn.
Yeah. Crazy.
Great wording.
I know. Yeah, it's funny because, Faramir doesn't admit that he's like not poetic here, but Sam does. And then he describes Galadriel in an incredibly poetic way. He's like,
oh yeah.
Hard as diamonds and soft as moonlight, warm as sunlight, cold as frost and the stars. Proud and far off as the snow mountain, as merry as any lass I ever saw with daisies in her hair in the springtime. Well, that's a lot of nonsense and all wide of my mark. And it's like both of these characters view themselves as wise, and then Sam ends up being an idiot later when he gives up the ring. So I love that moment so much still. I thought that was so funny. Looking after my master. And you'll understand in not meaning any harm, Boromir. No, I'm not meaning any harm to Boromir. And it's my opinion that in Lorien, he first saw clearly what I guess sooner. What he wanted. From the moment he first saw it, he wanted the enemy's ring. Sam! Cried Frodo aghast.
So bad.
I know. And it just is interesting, too, how different this is from the movies, too, like the end of this chapter. How Sam and Faramir kind of have this back and forth a little bit. Oh, it's so good. What else do you guys have in this chapter? Anything else? We're going to last?
Just the one comment Faramir was saying how warriors are being held in too high of esteem now, and warriors used to have other things, other hobbies, other skills, and now they don't. And just the fact that he was differentiating between I don't know if it was like high class and then low class and middle class, but he's like, we think of ourselves as being high class, but we're kind of not. We're fading away from that.
Yeah.
We're not that anymore.
Yeah.
I love that you said that, because I had like 2 seconds of my life where I was fascinated by medieval knights, and that was like a whole thing, is that like they would make art and they would like sing and just like be great people and not just murder everyone. And like I feel like the warrior characters now, it's like that's all they are, is they're just like brutal warriors. And then he was describing the Rohirrim and how like they kind of like adopted some of each other's thing, but it said they're enchanted in arts and gentleness too. And I was like, that's such a cool way to like describe the people, because it's like that's just one little part of their life, is being on the battlefield. And I'm like, I'm sure they have a million horses, like they're caretakers, they're like great people. But yeah, I don't know, I feel like the character, they have a whole life outside of the battlefield, which is nice.
Yeah, seriously. That is a great point.
And like I like that they all sing songs, like they all have their prayers, they're all poets in their own right. It's not like foreign to any of them to be like, oh, this should be a poem or this should be a song. They're like, got you, I get that. You know, like it just makes sense to all of them. And also this line, unrelated, but Frodo is saying to Sam, sit at peace and be comforted, Samwise. If you seem to have stumbled, think that it was fated to be so. Yeah. Your heart is shrewd as well as faithful, and saw clearer than your eyes. So Frodo's so like, kind. It is what it is.
Yeah,
like,
it really is.
Really. Fine.
Yeah, whatever.
It's like it's all fated to be. We'll figure this out as we go.
And then at the end, you have an air too, sir, that reminds me of, well, Gandalf of Wizards.
I wrote best compliment ever.
Yeah, really. And then I'm like, man, like Faramir, movie Faramir. Like, I really thought he was decent, you know, and not a favorite character. But now I'm like, oh, he might be one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, agreed.
So much better than
Hope we get to see a lot more of him.
Yeah, I hope so too. I'm like sad that probably the next chapter after the Forbidden Pool, we'll probably part from him for a while. I'm like bummed about that.
Right.
I want more time with him.
Does he ever get his own chapter? You know, I feel like he could.
He deserves it.
Like even after here, we could jump back to him for a little, see what's going on in Gilead.
We really could. All right, let's touch on the last chapter. There's not a ton in the last chapter, but the Forbidden Pool.
Frodo helps to trap Gollum, and Faramir lets Frodo go with Gollum after a little explanation and begging and some oaths. But he does warn against going to Cirith Ungol. And then I wrote, do they split here? Or do they go to Osgiliath with him like the movies? Well, it's bright.
I know, I'm sorry, I am a highlighter.
No, it's great.
It's a good look.
We're into it.
Safety. If you saw me with my vest on, oh my god. Oh, and my boots, just, sorry.
That's awesome.
Unrelated.
I love, I mentioned this before when I was doing a live read of this chapter, and it was funny because Sam's ability to just like instinctively know what Frodo is doing even when he's asleep is like when you're driving when you're a kid and all of a sudden you have that one turn into your house.
And you wake up.
You wake up. That's so like Sam. Like Frodo does one little thing and Sam's awake and he's like, oh, where's Frodo going? Because Sam waking suddenly by some instinctive watchfulness saw first his master's empty bed, then leapt to his feet. Then he saw two dark figures, Frodo and a man framed against the archway, which is now filled with pale white light. It's just funny there. And then, again, this is so funny. He goes, Frodo's thinking, he goes, why was he brought out here out of forgetful sleep? Sam was eager for an answer to the same question and could not refrain himself from muttering for his master's ear alone as he thought, it's a fine view, no doubt, Mr. Frodo, but chilly to the heart, not to mention the bones. What's going on? Faramir heard and answered, Moonset over Gondor, fair Ethel, as he goes from Middle-earth, glances upon the white locks of old Mindalluin. It is worth a few shivers. But that is not what I brought you to see. Though, as for you, Samwise, you were not brought, but you do pay the penalty of your watchfulness. Like, that is so good. It's like, Sam, I didn't invite you. I invited Frodo here, and you just kind of tagged along. It's funny.
They come as a pair.
They really do.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys have in this chapter?
Not nearly as much. Oh, you know what's weird though? I don't know if this is skipping too far. We can jump back, but Frodo was overhearing an awful lot of what Gollum said when he was going down there. He's hearing Gollum say, "Dirty hobbits, nasty hobbits.
Yeah.
They left us. We're gonna throttle them," and it went on almost as unceasing as the waterfall.
Huh.
And then Frodo is listening with pity and disgust. It's like, I think a part of me it has been thinking Frodo's giving him the benefit of the doubt, or just like doesn't believe that he has these intentions. But now it's kind of undeniable. So it's so weird that he's still sticking up for him after he's talking, or he's hearing Gollum talk to himself about throttling them.
That's a great point.
So he is convicted here with whatever Gandalf had to say, and this is a blatant confirmation. He knows that Gollum cannot be trusted and is dangerous, and he is still saying, but our paths are intertwined.
Yeah.
And so be it.
And that's the interesting part of this too, because like Gandalf was convinced of that.
Yeah.
And I think we mentioned this when we were in the Moria chapter, but Gollum's happenstance of coming to them was like just totally random. It wasn't like he was sent to go chasing after them. Although it seems like that to some extent. I still don't know fully if he was set free or if he escaped. It seems like both. Like Sauron let him go free, but he made like Gollum think that he escaped. But he was just going to Moria just to like go live there. And then all of a sudden he comes across the Fellowship. So it seems like too coincidental. I think Gandalf almost felt that too. There's a word that I learned that everyone was talking about, and they're mentioning in some essays that I'm doing. But it gets mentioned in one of the next chapters called Fey. And it's like the touch of divinity on someone that Tolkien uses. And it seems like that is in this chapter right here. Like he has this touch of divinity on him to some extent.
Whoa.
And Frodo has that, and Faramir seems to have that. But I think especially Gollum, which is weird. But it's interesting too, because he has that one moment where he's like, "Oh, why don't I just let them shoot him right here? Because he's dangerous."
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then he's like, I can't let this happen. He like knows that he has a purpose to play. Just so interesting. And then Frodo seems weirdly like wanting to die in this chapter too. He's like, you can shoot me if I don't, if I don't, get him over here.
Which again feels like one of those crazy things. Like, I'm bound to die anyway, so I'll throw around my own death. Yeah, shoot me, fine. Then it's cool.
Yeah. Because where does he say that? "Let me go down quietly to him," said Frodo. "You may keep your bows bent, and shoot me at least if I fail. I shall not run away." It's like wild that he just says that. And then he goes, "Only one true shot and Frodo would be rid of the miserable voice forever." But no, Gollum had a claim on him now. The servant has a claim on the master for service, even service and fear. They would have foundered in the dead marshes, but for Gollum. For Frodo knew, too, somehow, quite clearly, that Gandalf would not have wished it.
Somehow, quite clearly.
Yeah. What does Gandalf know that we
like
don't?
magic.
I don't like that Frodo said that Gollum came because he trusted him. I'm like, you have no idea why Gollum came. And
Ooh, nice.
you literally just explained to Faramir that you're bound to each other by the ring. So I'm like, why are you trying to convince yourself that this is like a more trustworthy situation? Or like, I don't know. I feel like he's gaslighting himself a little bit, that like he just doesn't kill him because Gandalf doesn't want him to. And I'm like, no, all you have going at this point is really like the promise on the ring. Otherwise, I don't know, maybe Faramir could guide you somewhere else, but
yeah,
I don't like Gollum.
Well, I'm with you, but you're like thinking like Sam, which I agree with. Like, I think like Sam too. I'm like, just kill the thing right now, because he's not going to do you any good. Like, maybe he can guide you a little bit, but you have Faramir right now. Let Faramir guide you the rest of the time. Just kill him. Let Faramir go. But Frodo's like, I think he's thinking so clearly here. And one of the reasons why I say that is because when he's about to go up to Gollum, he's like, this is a lose-lose. I cannot, no matter what I do, I'm going to get screwed. Because he's like, I am not going without him. We must go back with him. His heart sank. This was too much like trickery. He did not really fear like that Faramir would allow Gollum to be killed, but he would probably make himself a prisoner and bind him, and certainly what Frodo did would seem treachery to the poor creature. It would probably be impossible to make him ever understand or believe that Frodo had saved his life in the only way he could. What else could he do? To keep faith as near as might be with both sides? Come, he said, or the precious will be angry. We are going back now up the stream. Go on, you in front. So he like has to do this in order to capture
But why
Gollum.
can't he just be like, hey, come with me. There's 500 guys up here that are trying to kill you. And
Yeah,
this
like
is how
fair point.
you live.
Right,
Like,
right.
they can't even hear them with the
Yeah.
waterfall there. And I think
yeah, good
Gollum would
point.
have, like, the brain to process that, too.
Right.
And then it would make Gollum feel like he's Frodo's confidant and, like, they're working on something together. That would probably pay off later, having had, like, one little thread of trust.
Yep.
And then now we're being honest. He's not going to fight when they get back.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how my brain works.
Smeagol, said Frodo desperately. Precious will be angry. I shall take
Yeah.
Precious, and I shall say, make him swallow the bones and choke, never taste fish again.
That is
Come.
wild.
See, why is
Precious
that the
is
approach?
waiting.
Like,
I'm like,
that's
like
not...
that's just so aggressive.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like right, but
Huh.
maybe he really thinks if he tells Gollum what's up, Gollum is gonna bolt immediately before thinking, and just be so skittish and then get killed. So I'm thinking good from Frodo in this, where he genuinely thinks this is the only way to save Gollum.
Yeah, I could see that.
Do you think Gollum knows that they're there? And that's why he's at the
I
waterfall?
don't think he does, but it feels weird because he's so good at being sneaky.
Yeah.
So why did he lose it right here? Like this feels unlike him. But then again, Aragorn saw him, Gandalf saw him.
But he really is talking down to his level too, because like he almost is becoming Gollum like in this chapter, because it says they won't hurt you. I'll go with you, and you shall come to no harm, not unless they kill me too. Trust, master. So he's like saying, my promise is good, but he's still like, it's still a strange way to speak.
Yeah. So weird.
And then we're all Sam in this moment too, because it says, and now do you take this creature, this Smeagol, under your protection? I do take Smeagol under my protection, said Frodo. Sam sighed audibly. Like all of us are like in his presence going, come on, this stupid thing's got to stay. This guy sucks. But again, because their fate is intertwined, Frodo knows he has some part to play. And I feel like he knows that he needs to bring him in order for this mission to be accomplished in some way.
Huh.
Like him bringing Faramir
Yeah.
wouldn't work. But him bringing Gollum, it might lead to his own death, but it will work. I don't know. It's this touch of like divinity that I think is on Gollum for some reason. He's evil, but I don't know.
I like that Frodo keeps pushing back on Faramir when Faramir on the next page is saying, wait, Cirith Ungol or Cirith Ungol? Like, that's bad. Don't go that way. It's ridiculous. And Frodo, in the movies, it always bothered me because it feels kind of like, okay, I don't know. But here he's pushing back and saying, well, give me a better option then.
Yeah.
Where would you have me go?
I love that moment. Yeah.
He's like, this is our plan. Obviously, I can't go through the Black Gate. Do you have something better? I'm open to suggestions. But he's like, right now, this is our only option, and we have to take it. So I like that he's confident enough and, again, kind of trusting Gollum. And then Faramir's reasons not to go kind of come off like wives' tales. So it's nice for the reader where you're like, ooh, there's something interesting up there.
Yeah.
But also, you're like, he's never seen anything.
He's never seen anything.
Even
he just
like
says,
the old tales of yesteryear don't
he goes,
mention
old men and
anything.
masters of lore will blanch and fall silent. On that, you're like, ooh, that's creepy, but you're like, that's nothing.
But even they wouldn't say what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was
They
a
don't
long
even know
time
what it
ago.
is.
You're like,
Yeah.
come on.
They're lying.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it just, if I were in Frodo's shoes, it'd be the same vibe of like, oh, okay, like, well, I'm still going to do it then. Thank you. I don't expect rainbows and butterflies in Mordor. So, like, creepy stuff, okay, we'll deal with it.
But it's weird too, because I do love both of them in this chapter. In that page that you were mentioning, like Frodo sitting there and going, what would you have? Would you have me come to Gondor with this thing? the thing that drove your brother mad with desire? What spell would work in Minas Tirith? Shall there be 2 cities of Minas Morgul grinning at each other across a dead land filled with rottenness? And Faramir goes, yeah, right? There's the 2 towers. Maybe that's the 2 towers. We still don't know what the 2 towers
Whoa.
That's what I thought.
I would not have it so, said Faramir. Then what would you have me do? I know not. Only that you would not have to go to death or to torment. And I do not think that Mithrandir would have chosen this way. Yet since he is gone, I must take such paths as I can find, and there is no time for long searching. And Faramir goes, it is a hard doom and a hopeless errand, said Faramir, but at least remember my warning. Beware of this guide, Smeagol. He has done murder before now. I read it in him. He sighed. So like they're both wise. But Frodo's at his wit's end. He's like, what else do you want me to do? This is the only thing that I can do.
Man, Faramir is so good at reading people. He's like, I can tell he's murdered. That's pretty specific.
That is great.
Malice eats it like a canker, and the evil is growing. So again, even that sense that he knows he's not good and the evil is growing.
Yeah.
I'm like, he has such a sense with people. That's so magic stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know
seriously.
and confidence enough that he doesn't think it in his own head, but even counsels, which is something I think he takes seriously.
And then one of the last things I loved, because he goes, if ever beyond hope you return to the lands of the living, and we retell our tales sitting by the wall in the sun, laughing at old grief, you shall tell me then. Yes, Faramir, I want to be sitting against the sunlit wall with you telling
so
tales.
Nice. I love that. What a nice way for him to end it.
I know. So good.
Beyond hope.
You guys have anything else in this chapter?
The Seeing Stones of Numenor. Are they Palantirs?
Palantirs?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And they had multiple? Pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was a few. I think they found, I forgot which one they found. I remember we talked about that during the Palantir chapter, but there was a bunch of them around.
But yeah, I want that to happen. And not just like in some hypothetical way. I want that to be in the books where we get to sit on that wall.
I know. It's the same thing like when Gimli and Legolas are chatting and they're like, we need to go back to Helm's Deep, but only if you'll come with Fangorn with me. I'm like, oh, if that's
that better be in here.
I am going to riot the streets.
Yep.
I could be furious. All right, let's do our favorites. Favorite moment in the chapter, who's a hot tamale, and who's your favorite character?
Who's going first?
You go first.
Okay, Faramir's my favorite.
Agreed.
I don't have answers for any of the other ones. I think I don't know. There's no hot tamale.
I think Sam's a hot tamale.
Boromir in the boat.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Sam is kind of hot tamale.
Because he stands up for Frodo even though he gets told, shut up. You're not. Your wit's not great. He gives up the ring. That's kind of hot tamale energy right there.
Yeah.
Favorite moment? Not my favorite moment, but I really like the Oliphant elephant thing.
Yeah.
When they see that.
That is cool.
I like that. But yeah, I'm sure that's not actually my favorite moment.
I think my favorite moment is actually when they had dinner. Because I'm like, they haven't eaten in a while. They had they had the stew, but then they sat and it says like they ate, smoked meats and like dried fruit, and they ate on clean knives and clean forks with clean plates, and it was like with good wine coursing through their veins. Like that's exactly what they need. That is perfect.
And Sam doesn't have to worry about Gollum anymore.
Yes.
They can just close their eyes.
He can just relax a bit. Even though Sam doesn't relax. I love that moment. So like any moments of like calm in this are just so well needed. Especially for Frodo and Sam's journey right now. Out there living on Limbus.
I think Faramir is my favorite character. Sam Hot Tamale. And then I think my favorite moment is just, it's somewhere in their discussions. I found myself thinking a lot about whether or not seeing Boromir was a vision. So just those moments of ambiguity and discovery, and Faramir talking about the people of Gondor and how it's changed. All of that conversation I think was really cool, fun to read, and that was kind of I think that will be my bigger takeaway from these chapters looking back on them. It was that conversation and like Faramir just being awesome.
Yeah, Faramir really was awesome.
Yeah, I guess favorite moment. It's not like a big one, but just a feeling, you know?
Yeah.
Jen?
You got anything? You don't have a favorite?
Oh, no. Probably the same thing you guys are saying.
Ditto?
Ditto.
Yeah.
It's a good ditto.
Yeah, it's a classic.
I mean, that's like the only real answers in the
I ditto this one too.
Like, it's just everything. So Jen loves the descriptions of Athelion. That's her favorite.
Yeah, she just wants to be there all the time. But it is funny that you hated that and Lizzie loved it.
Would you like me to describe it to you?
Well, thanks for joining us on our journey of the Fellowship of the First Time Readers. Until next time.
See ya.
And what we have to look to the west.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Thanks for joining. We look to the west to Numenor.
Hold on. Let's see if I can do it from memory
we look to what was.
We look toward Numenor that was, toward beyond to Elvenhome that is.
Yeah.
And to beyond that.
And to what is beyond Elvenhome.
Beyond Elvenhome, and that
always will be.
And will always will be. Wait. We look toward Numenor that was, and beyond that to Elvenhome that is, and to that which is beyond Elvenhome and will evermore and will ever be.
Beyond Elvenhome and will ever be.
Amen.
Okay, yeah, I like that. Nice. We're gonna get it. But I love that. It's so
every
good.
time.
That's a good sign off.
Such a good. I know. It's like the best. As soon as I read that, I was like, "That's the new video."
We're like sophisticated men of Gondor.
I know.
And women.
Someone, as soon as I started doing that, someone commented on one of the videos, and they were like, "I loved your stuff, but as soon as you said that, it brought a tear to my eyes. We knew we had like a Tolkien fan reference." I was like, "Yes, I'm turning into like
That's great.
Tolkien nerd. I love this. It's so good." But thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate having you, as always, and have a good night.